JHK here for Sports Kita, and joining me right now is UFC welterweight contender Vicente Luque, Dad Luque. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me again. And yeah, I'm enjoying, being a dad. This is a different training camp going on, but it's going great. Having fun.
Of course, of course. Let's kick it off with UFC 264. Your close friend and training partner Gilbert Burns goes in there, defeats Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, executed a very effective game plan. What did you think of how the fight played out?
And I thought it was perfect. I talked a lot to Gilbert during his camp, and he would send me some videos of his sparring sessions, and I was kind of, whatever I could try to help him, I helped him with. But he had a great strategy, a great game plan, and he was disciplined. And I think that's the biggest thing you got to do against Wonderboy. Wonderboy is so tricky, so dangerous. If you're not, disciplined and stick to your game plan, you're going to make a mistake, and that's where Wonderboy is going to capitalize. So I think that Gilbert did, perfect. He did what he needed to do and got the job done against a really tough opponent in Wonderboy. And I think, now he's looking up there for that title again really soon.
Could you reveal any kind of information that you shared with Burns to help him defeat Wonderboy?
And most of all, I talked to him about the discipline. He needed to be. What I said is, I remember it has to be the kind of fight where you're gonna be, you're gonna want to do more, but you're gonna have to control yourself because Gilbert is kind of like me. He wants to go in there and just bang. He wants to go all in, and he does that most of the fights. But this fight had to be different, and I learned that in my fight with Wonderboy. I got overexcited, especially in second round, and just was looking for that knockout, and I got picked apart because of that. I just exposed myself. So that's what I told Gilbert. Just be disciplined, stick to your game plan, and be patient. Be patient because Wonderboy if you don't attack him, he's not gonna do much. He will try to attack eventually, and that's when he's gonna give you an opening. And that's what happened whenever he tried to, rush on Gilbert or try to move out. That's when Gilbert was able to grab him and take him down and capitalize on Wonderboy's mistakes. And he didn't make any mistakes. Gilbert didn't make any mistakes so that Wonderboy could do anything about it. So yeah, that's what I told him. Be patient. It's gonna be that kind of fight where you cannot just go in there and go all in and just brawl. It's not the guy to do that.
What about that one moment where they were both pressed against the cage and they were just punching each other in the face at the end of the round?
Yeah, I think that was pretty funny, and it was cool. It was a cool moment. I think Wonderboy, he knew he was losing the fight and he needed to do something, and that's what I think he was doing. He was just doing whatever he could in that position, and I think even though he was throwing those punches, it wasn't really effective. I think Gilbert's punches had more power at that moment. He was in a better position.
Definitely, definitely. The lever was there. And, in the main event after Burns and Wonderboy fought, McGregor broke his leg. Man, Chris Weidman broke his leg not too long ago. Why do you think we're seeing more leg breaks lately at the highest level? It's not even like it's on the prelims or on the regional scene. We're seeing it on pay-per-view events.
Yeah, I think that part of it is the level of MMA is increasing, and that means that we need to train more. We need to, push even harder in training, and that stresses the body. This kind of breaks on the tibia bone is a break that many times happen because of stressing too much, running and then moving a lot in the octagon and all these kind of trainings. We're always standing on our legs, so that's the bone that is going to be really stressed of overtraining. And sometimes it happens, the bone can't take that much abuse. And yeah, I think because of the level that we are nowadays with MMA, training has, become something really important. If you want to be competitive, you got to push hard. You got to train more than your opponents. And eventually, unfortunately, these kind of things happen.
I think doctors are going to start becoming more important, right? Throughout a training camp.
Yeah.
Like you got to go get your x-rays and scans and all of that maybe throughout camp just to make sure that your body is close to 100% as possible, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, something I've been doing, I don't know, for at least 5 years or even more than that. I'm always in physical therapy. So it doesn't matter if I'm injured or not, I do physical therapy as a prevention. And they make sure that my body's aligned, that I have, no major injuries. And if any little thing like starts bothering me, they'll treat it right away so it doesn't become an injury, and I can keep training strong and have a great training camp.
Now, the rankings came out earlier this week, and it seemed like they switched you and Michael Chiesa. Did you see that?
I know. I mean, I saw that and it was funny. I don't know what happened with the fights that that was the outcome of the kind of the move of the division. But in my mind, it's even like I even like that because I'm fighting now somebody above me,
Yeah.
somebody in the five. So it's great. It's a great fight for me.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird like how that just happened. Like you didn't fight, he didn't fight, and the fight that happened over the weekend didn't have nothing to do with what you guys are gonna, what your position is in the division, and they just switch you. So like, yeah, I guess it's a blessing in disguise when you step into the cage. Now with yourself, back-to-back wrestlers, man, different styles though. What makes Chiesa unique to you?
Yeah, I think he's more of a jiu-jitsu guy. He is definitely a wrestler, but he has kind of that jiu-jitsu influence, and he likes to take the back. It kind of resembles the way that Damian Maia, takes the back, and he likes to do that jiu-jitsu game on the grappling side. And yeah, I think that's his biggest weapon. I don't see him doing anything else but trying to get me down, try to submit me, and he's really good at that. So I've been working a lot of my ground game, a lot of my wrestling, and it's a good thing that Woodley was a wrestler as well. I imagined that he was going to try to take me down. So that training camp, I had a lot of wrestling focus, keep making sure that I was going to keep the fight standing, and that comes for this fight as well. So I've been doing that for a little while for my last fight. Now I'm gonna do more of it for this fight, and yeah, I think it's a pretty kind of it's that matchup just like Gilbert and Wonderboy, striker versus grappler. I think that's what's gonna be me and Chiesa. Everybody knows I'm gonna strike with him. Everybody knows that he's gonna try to get me to the ground and submit me, and that makes it even more interesting. It's kind of the old school MMA where we know what the guys are going to do, and let's see who's better at their game and better at imposing, their will. And yeah, I think that's what the fight's going to be.
Chiesa, like you said, he's known for his grappling. He's a specialist on the ground, but you're also a specialist on the ground, man. You have so many submissions. Is there any part of his game that is dangerous besides the grappling?
I mean, I've watched a lot of tape on him, and he did knock down Masvidal on their fight back in the day when they were 155ers. So yeah, I mean, I definitely have to keep an eye on his striking game. I don't think I could put it just aside, and just say, oh, this guy has no striking. Let me go in there and just knock him out. But that's not something I would do. I never underestimate any of my opponents, and I do look, for some things that he could surprise me with. So maybe, he's going to come with some new striking and try to pressure me. And if that happens, I'll be ready for that as well. And on the ground game, like you said, I have been training jiu-jitsu since I'm 16 years old. I've been training luta libre since, I believe, since I'm 20 years old. So, I have a lot of experience on the ground game, on the grappling. After I started, having a great friendship with Gilbert Burns, that just improved, and he has given me, a lot of knowledge in this area. So yeah, if we end up in the floor, and I think that might happen at some point, he's a great wrestler. He takes people down most of his fights, so that can happen. I also have tools to work over there. It's not just gonna be like, okay, now it's done for me. No way. I can even, try to submit him or look for something. So yeah, I think it's the kind of fight where it's going to be tricky for him anywhere, be it standing or on the ground. I'm going to do what I do, look for the finish.
Jiu-jitsu, lutte livre, there's a argument about that, right? And what differences? What key differences?
I'm not about the rivalries. I'm all about getting the best of both and just mixing it up. I mean, it's mixed martial arts. We got to do everything.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And Cerrado MMA, man, you guys are putting a lot of work over there. Did you bring anybody in, from around different gyms, or did you go to different gyms to kind of get different looks, or did you just stay with the guys that you're working with right now?
So I didn't bring someone in that wasn't from the gym, but I have a guy, Lucio Corrado. He used to be a champion of Jungle Fight, which is a big show here in Brazil. And he is a great grappler. He's been competing a lot of jiu-jitsu lately. He teaches jiu-jitsu as well. And I got him as a sparring partner for this training camp. He hasn't been competing MMA so much, but he's always training. And, he has kind of the things that really similar. He's a southpaw. He's a long guy. He really strong on the grappling, really strong on the clinch. So I felt like it was a guy that I could bring in and really help me out with. And yeah, it's been great. I feel like I'm getting all the work I need over here at Cerrado MMA. And yeah, it's going to be a great fight for sure.
And I see you're continuing the movement training that you're doing. Like, tell us your progress on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that has been, kind of opening my eyes to different things. Not just because movement is important and I'm being able to do different kind of things outside of fighting, but that's permitting me to, when I go back to fighting, I'm able to learn techniques that I couldn't do before because of body limitations. So there are many things that I kind of I looked at and I said, oh, this technique is not for me in fighting, in maybe jiu-jitsu or even Muay Thai and striking. And I wouldn't use those techniques so much because it didn't fit my body type. And now doing the movement and exploring my body, learning new things that I could do, I'm starting to learn all these new techniques that I used to think that wouldn't work with me. And now I can do them because I got the mobility to do that right now. So yeah, it's been improving a lot, and something that I think it's that like every week, every month, I'm getting a little bit better, and it just makes my fight game also better.
Now, you mentioned earlier, this camp is a little different. Of course, you have the newborn at home. So is it just like training home now? There's really nothing else left?
Exactly, that's what it is, but I think like I've always been a guy that I'm always at home. That's what I like to do. And in the beginning, it was really tricky with the sleep. I was sleeping nothing, and I was like, man, this is gonna be a tough training camp. But fortunately, the last month he's started to sleep most of the night, so I'm having about 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night, and that's great, man. That's I'm just recovering after every single training session. So yeah, I was worried at start when I wasn't sleeping well, but now it's being great. And whenever I can come back home and see my kid, it's so great to see him smiling. He's smiling. He's trying to do some noise and trying to move, and it looks like he's trying to talk to us, even though it's going to take a while until he can talk, but it's just great. It just kind of takes that all that stress that we have mentally during training camp, and it takes it all away, and I just relax and enjoy him, enjoy my wife. It's great.
Yeah, babies give off a different energy. And, when my daughter was a baby, they have like this relaxing smell about them, right? Have you noticed that?
Yes, they do. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. It's weird.
Only babies have that smell. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's odd, but I guess it's the energy, man. Like I said, it's just the energy. Yeah. Makes you smile,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you're a guy, man, known to finish anywhere in the cage, ground, standing. What can the fans expect in this fight?
Man, they can expect, somebody that is going to go in there and try to finish Chiesa every single second of that fight. That's what I do. That's what I'm always going to do. It's just what motivates me to fight. It's what really got me into this, is to put on the best show I can for the fans. Nowadays, I know that whenever I have a fight coming up and I'm going to announce that fight, I know fans are going to be excited. I know everybody's going to try to watch that event and make sure that they don't miss my fight. So, I'm going to honor that. I'm going to go in there and do my best every single time and work, to finish Chiesa and before the 3 rounds.
Exactly. And you're on a pay-per-view in front of the fans, the arena's pumping, it's going to be just a whole. It's not even gonna be a different vibe. It's just gonna be the vibe that you're used to, right?
Yeah, I mean the vibe that I love. Finally we're gonna get fans back. I mean they are back already. First time I'm gonna fight when they're back, and yeah, I'm excited for that for sure. It's gonna be. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna have the same energy when I fought the first time in the UFC, but I imagine it's gonna be something like that. To have the fans back, all that energy, it's gonna be great.
You go out there, you take out Chiesa on pay-per-view, dominant fashion. Like, where does that put you, do you think? I mean, you're right there at the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to look past, a big fight like this. I'm definitely focusing on Chiesa right now, but a big win over him, I think, and it has to be a big win. That's what I'm going for, and a big win over him, I think, puts me in title talks. Really close to that title fight eventually, especially because of the way I'm fighting, the way that I'm finishing my fights. I think that I bring something different in the division. I bring not only in the division, but I think in the whole UFC. I'm a finisher, and I'm one of the guys in the UFC that most finishes fights and most, excites the fans. So I think that's something that I really have going for me. And I first of all, I got to get this big win against Chiesa, and after that, I do think I'm going to be really close, closer to my objective, that is to get that title fight.
Speaking of the title fight, it's looking like Colby Covington is going to get the next shot against Kamaru Usman. Do you think that that's the right move?
Man, it's hard to say. I think that's a fight that sells. I know the fans want to see it because the first fight, I mean, a lot of people thought that it was a tough fight until the end. Until when Colby got finished. But I don't know. I think Colby needed at least one more fight before he got in back to that title fight again. And Leon Edwards, man, I think Leon should fight for the title. I don't know. 10 wins, 10-win streak is something that not many people can do. It's something tough to do. And I don't know. I just feel like Edwards deserved that fight. Go for the title, but we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. Colby, I think it's the fight that sells the most between Leon and Colby. I think Colby sells better, and that's why I think the UFC is going to do it. And it's going to be a great fight. I know that Colby is always game. He's always goes in there to fight, and he has that wrestling. So it's not going to be the kind of fight where they're going to try to wrestle each other. I think they're going to do the same thing that they did the first time, try to knock each other out. Kamaru on the other side, now he has much better boxing. I really felt like his last 2 fights, he's shown a lot of improvement on his boxing. So I don't know if it's going to be a good night for Colby. I think, Colby's going to get finished again, and we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen.
When you think of the logic, right? Like, your last fight was against Woodley. You finished him in the first round. Colby's last fight was against Woodley. I think he finished him in the 5th round. You should be getting a title shot, right? If you think about logic.
I mean, yeah, but that's the thing. The UFC is not about logic. The UFC is about entertainment. And right now, I understand that I have to, get a big win and keep doing what I do. I don't entertain by talking trash. I don't entertain by, trying to sell myself. I sell myself inside the octagon. And in there is nothing. I mean, this is fighting. So I believe that what the most important thing that I got to do is fight my ass off. Fight like everybody wants to watch, and that's what I do. So eventually I'm going to get up there. I'm going to get my title fight, and I know that I'm going to sell fights just because of my style. I don't need to talk trash to sell my fight.
Speaking of talking trash, Conor McGregor, ahead of the Dustin Poirier fight, he went pretty far, right? He went far with Khabib. And Dustin also, and then even after the fight, when his leg was broken, he was yelling some things about Dustin's family. Man, I know you're one of the nicest guys in the UFC, but is that going too far, man? Could that get you pretty angry, at a person, like genuinely angry?
I mean, I don't know if I would get angry because I do believe he does it kind of to get in people's nerves. And I don't want to give him that taste. So I don't think that I would get angry. But I already, if I'm lined up to fight somebody, I want to finish that guy. I want to hurt him just because we're going to fight. So if he's going to talk something about my family, that's just going to be extra motivation. So I'm actually going to be excited to fight him, you know. So it's not the kind of thing that would make me upset or would make me kind of like angry. I would just be even more pumped to go in there and try to knock that guy out, try to break him as bad as I could break him. That's it.
Tyron Woodley, man, he's not with the UFC anymore. He's actually going to be boxing Jake Paul next, which I'd never expected in 100 years. But if you had, if you had $100K to bet on that fight, who would you put your money on?
I would put my money on Woodley for sure, and I would say a knockout. I don't know, maybe second or third round, but I think it's going to be a knockout. Woodley, he has good boxing, and he has shown that in the UFC, and he has a right hand. And if that right hand connects, man, he connected against me, and I can take a punch. And I still felt that. I got wobbled once he connected his hand. So, yeah, I see him knocking out Jake Paul. And I actually think Jake Paul technically is pretty good, a lot of people talk trash about him, I know. And, yeah, he's a YouTuber, and there's all that story about it. But he can fight. He can box. He has good technique. But I don't think that he can hang in there with Woodley.
Yeah, Woodley does still possess that crazy power, right? And it just takes one shot.
Yeah, and now he's training only for boxing. I follow him on Instagram, and I see him training with all these guys. And he was training with Mayweather. He was back in Miami training with Pedro Diaz, a Cuban guy that is great. So I know that he's really working hard on that. And man, a guy that is athletic like Woodley has that power, training focused only for boxing. I think he's going to do really well.
Pedro Diaz, have you worked with him in the past?
No, I haven't worked with him, but I know that Gilbert has. Gilbert has always talked to me about him, that he's a really good boxing coach. And Vitor Belfort also worked with him. Tyron Spong has worked with him. So, yeah, I know him just from guys talking to me about him, but I never got the opportunity to train with him.
Yeah, I heard he's one of the best guys out there in the States, in Florida. And I think Paige Van Zant's even working with him for her bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah, I think there's some other guys, too, that are fighting the bare knuckle and that are working with him.
Yeah, incredible. And how much of your training is just purely boxing?
A lot. Man, I started that after my loss to Wonder Boy. I started boxing. I started training boxing, so I do that. I do mitts once a week and some technical work, especially not only because, I've always had good hands, and I felt like that was enough, but now I just have even better hands, more hand speed, more power, just the hip movement to generate that power has improved a lot. But the main focus, the reason I started working on that was, head movement. Everybody has always talked to me about it. Hey, you got to move your head. Stop taking so much damage. And after I fought Wonder Boy, I realized, yeah, man, I don't need to take so much damage. It's good that I have the chin I have, but I can preserve it and just let, guys connect whenever I'm not able to get out of it. But if I can get out of it, I'm going to try to get out of these punches. And that's why I started training boxing, and it really improved, my movement, my head work, my head movement and everything. And yeah, I feel like it's something that it's really, I don't know, for strikers and in MMA is something that helps a lot.
The proof is in the pudding. Like, the last 3 performances has been incredible. You're on an incredible run. Another big fight coming up August 7th, UFC 265. Thank you so much, Vicente, for the time, man. Enjoy life. Enjoy being a family man. Having the baby around. It's probably one of the best times of your life right now.
Yeah, for sure, man. I couldn't ask for more. I am extremely blessed, and I'm grateful to God, and I thank you for this opportunity, and thank all the fans for always supporting me, always motivating me for every single fight. And man, August 7th, I'm gonna go in there and put on a show for everyone.